Very good morning to all of you. How's the preparation going on? Yogesh, Geet, Saminath, Saminathan, Sanjay, everyone. Good, na? Very good. Very good. Very good. Very good. So today topic is more or less we have already covered 50% part. Section 49. So basically it is a revision. Whatever we have discussed. Okay. And then we'll talk about some new part like section 50, 1, etc. Electronic cash ledger. Very nice, Saminathan. So now, before starting the discussion, because we have already covered section 49, we have already covered section 49. Can you please quickly tell me? Can you please quickly tell me that only one question? Can CGST can CGST be given to the IGST first without utilizing to the CGST? There's a tax liability between CGST and IGST. Can the CGST choose to give the amount to the IGST instead of the CGST? I think this part we have covered in detail. Correct. This part we have covered in very, very detailed manner. But it appears that still there is a confusion because you are giving the mixed answer. Someone is saying yes, someone is saying no. We'll discuss that. Starting with the section 49, what happened? एक मिनट दीजिएगा मुझे. Every deposit made toward the tax, interest, penalty, fee, or any other amount by a person by the internet banking or by using the credit or debit card or NEFT, National Electronic Fund Transfer, or RTGS, by such or by such other mode and subject to such condition and restriction as may be prescribed, shall be credited to the cash ledger to be maintained in such manner as may be prescribed. क्या मतलब हुआ इस बात का? It means whatever the amount that you will deposit toward any head, major head or minor head, it will be credited to the electronic cash ledger of that person to be maintained in such manner as may be prescribed. Fine. The input tax credit as self-assessed in the return. Return means GSTR1, GSTR3B, which return? It means which return they are talking about? The return means GSTR3B. The return means GSTR3B. So GSTR3B is a self-assessed tax return. So wherein you are deciding your liability, you are deciding your RCM liability, you are deciding the ITC, you are deciding the interest, you are deciding the any other liability and reversal. And then you are discharging that liability then you are discharging that liability. In the GST return, whatever the ITC, whatever the ITC that has been taken in the GSTR 3B shall be credited to the credit ledger in accordance with section 41 to be maintained in such manner as may be prescribed. And therefore, can you add the amount in the electronic credit ledger without return? Can you add the amount in the electronic credit ledger without GSTR 3B? क्या पॉसिबल है कि बिना जीएसटीआर 3B के अमाउंट इलेक्ट्रॉनिक क्रेडिट लेजर में क्रेडिट हो जाए? सम्यनाथन, where if you not file GSTR 3B, then whatever the amount appearing in the GSTR 2B, will it get credited to the electronic credit ledger? The answer is no. The answer is no. And there is one more mode, that is different forms. If you recall, the initial days, there was a concept of transitional forms, Tran 1, Tran 2. And we have also discussed ITC 01, ITC 02. Correct? So once you furnish the ITC 01, ITC 02 transitional forms, then amount get credited to the electronic credit ledger. And the main source is the GSTR 3B. Correct? And as a reason, there was one condition in the input tax credit. Can you tell me what was the condition in the section 16 subsection 2 with respect to this? आप मुझे बता सकते हैं कि वो क्या कंडीशन थी इन द section 16 subsection 2 with respect to ITC? The condition was that out of the 6 condition, that was a condition that recipient has furnished the GSTR 3B, because without furnishing the GSTR 3B, amount will not get credited to the electronic credit ledger. Correct? Then let's move further. Amount available in the cash ledger may be used for making the payment toward the tax, interest, penalty fee, or any other amount payable under the provision of this act or the rules made thereunder, in such manner, such conditions, such time as may be prescribed. Tell me the condition that amount can be paid through cash ledger only. Can you tell me the two liability of which we can make the payment through cash ledger only? 2 or 3 or 4, whatever you like to say. Correct. One, all are saying RCM. Absolutely correct. What about any other liability which can be discharged? Which can be discharged through electronic cash ledger only. One can be RCM. Then all other liability apart from tax, interest, penalty, fee. Can you make the payment through credit ledger? Answer is no. RCM. And can you please tell me one e-commerce related liability? One e-commerce related liability. Can you please tell me that one e-commerce related liability that probably we will discuss Not in today class. We will discuss in the next Sunday, coming Sunday class. Absolutely correct, Saminathan. That is 9 subsection 5. 9 subsection 5 e-commerce operator has to make the payment through cash ledger only. In this regard, we will discuss in the Sunday class in more detail. Now, the amount available in the credit ledger may be used for making the payment toward the output tax under this act or IGST in such manner, subject to such condition and restriction within such time as may be prescribed. So, there are some conditions, there are some restriction which we will discuss, and you also know any one condition with respect to electronic credit ledger that you cannot make the payment of tax through electronic credit ledger. कोई भी एक कंडीशन बता सकते हैं कि आप इलेक्ट्रॉनिक क्रेडिट लेजर से पेमेंट नहीं कर सकते? But Geet, section 38 is basically not yet made effective, considering there is no rules linked to that section 38 entire provision. I can say okay, that is okay, but as of now the new rules has not been prescribed. Okay. Yes, Yogesh has given the one answer. Samyanathan has also given the one answer that if your liability is more than such amount, then such percentage has to be discharged in cash. You cannot use credit ledger. कितना परसेंटेज अगर एग्रीगेट टर्नओवर मेरा टर्नओवर अगर एक्सीड हो गया, हाउ मच अमाउंट से? If my turnover exceed by how much amount, then 50 lakh, right? Then I have to pay certain percentage of the liability in the cash. कितना percentage of liability है? Answer is 1%. Correct? So that is one restriction. What about other restriction? That we will discuss. That section 49 capital A, 49 capital B, that we will discuss. Amount of, similarly, that we can say that CGST cannot be used for making the payment of SGST or vice versa. Now the section 49 subsection 5. Amount of ITC available in the electronic credit ledger of the registered person on account of the integrated tax first utilized toward the payment of integrated tax, and amount remaining, if any, may be utilized toward the payment of CGST and SGST or UTGST in that order. So 49 subsection 5 capital A has given the order. कौन सा order? कि how you will utilize the IGST ITC. How? That first we will use toward the liability of I, then amount remaining, if any, CGST and then SGST in that order. Quickly tell me in the chat whether the order still exists. क्या ये order आज भी exist करता है? Answer is no. See, now try to understand one thing. But it is written in the law. How you can say the order does not exist? It is written in the law. How you can say the order does not exist? नहीं 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 समयनाथन, यही पॉइंट आपको क्लैरिफाई करना है. एज पर लॉ आंसर इज नो. एज पर लॉ ऑल्सो आंसर इज नो. समयनाथन एक चीज, एक क्लियर वन थिंग. नाउ कैन द सर्कुलर override the law? Can the circular override the law? Answer is no. Then how it is possible कि circular can override the law with respect to the order? It is not possible. Therefore, you, as you are saying as per the law, it is no. Then only the circular has clarified that point. मैं रिपीट करता हूं कि जो मैंने आपसे क्वेश्चन पूछा था, whatever the question I have asked to you regarding the whether order still exists or not, the answer is no as per the law as well. Because only circular cannot say anything else, cannot say additional. Now come to this point. Then it says that in that order, Yogesh, please confirm yes. Yes. Yogesh, you please confirm. क्या as per the law answer is yes या answer is no? ऑर्डर एग्जिस्ट करता है या नहीं करता, वेदर ऑर्डर एग्जिस्ट और नॉट एज पर द लॉ. आई एम आस्किंग एज पर द लॉ. द आंसर इज नो. व्हाई यू आर सेइंग नो? नाउ यू टेल मी व्हाई यू आर सेइंग नो. व्हाई यू आर सेइंग नो? अच्छा योगेश, यू आर सेइंग यस. ऑर्डर एग्जिस्ट करता है या नहीं करता? लेट मी रिपीट माय क्वेश्चन. वेदर ऑर्डर दिस इन ऑर्डर सी फर्स्ट देन एस, whether this order is still exist, answer is no. Why no? Because you will say कि that section 49 capital A, 49 capital B, 49 capital A and 49 capital B is starting with notwithstanding. It means the order which was given in the 49.5 become 49.5 become redundant. Why? Because of these two sections. Is it clear, Saminathan and Yogis? Why law के according, why according to the law this order whatever given in the 49.5 does not exist? What is the new order? What is the new order that we all know? IGST, after utilizing the IGST liability, ITC of IGST, after utilizing the IGST liability, we can use in any order, any manner, any proportion. Is it clear? Correct. Correct. Now the clause B says the CGST shall be first utilized toward the payment of C and the amount remaining, if any, then toward the payment of I. Again, they have given the order that CGST first utilized toward the payment of C and then only it can be used for I. That order has also been slightly changed, that C can give the amount to I also. C can give the amount to I also. Correct. That was my first question. That was my first question. क्या CGST का liability, CGST and IGST both has the liability, and the ITC is there only in the CGST. My question was, can the CGST skip the offsetting towards C and directly give to the I first? The answer was yes. Sir, is it overriding over and above the law? Answer is no. It is the part of the law and given in the section 49 capital A and 49 capital B. Now, what is the restriction that will not come from the 49.5? That will mainly come from the 49 capital A and 49 capital B. And there is one or two point which you have to read. ये वाला क्वेश्चन जो मैंने स्टार्टिंग में पूछा था, करेक्ट? आई होप yes. Then it says same for SGST. The state tax shall be ITC on account of SGST. First utilized toward the payment of SGST ka liability and remaining if any toward the payment of I. Again, it has given the order that S will give first to S, then to I. First order. Second condition that S will give to the I only when C becomes 0. Only when C becomes 0. Whether this condition still exists? Answer is no. But what is the exact condition that we have to read? See, point is correct. The only condition was with respect to IGST that we will read once again. But if the question comes in exam, you will solve according to the order that has been given in the circular that we will read in the circular. But in the footnote, you must write the assumption or another possibility. Okay. Now, state tax shall be first utilized toward the payment of the state and the remaining, if any, shall be utilized toward the payment of IGST, provided that ITC on account of the state tax shall be utilized toward the payment of IGST only when the balance of ITC on account of the central tax is not available for the payment of integrated tax. Same thing is written for union territory that we can skip. Yes. In the section 49 subsection 5, these two clauses are still relevant after 49A and 49B. These are the only two clauses. Okay, tell me your understanding. Let me share the Excel sheet and give me your view. What is your view? So, liability, let's say IGST rupees 100, CGST rupees 80, SGST rupees 80. And you have the ITC under IGST, let's say rupees 0. CGST is 80 and same for SGST. I'm asking the question. Just give me the answer. If you will use this, and say that amount of the liability, एक मिनट दीजिएगा मुझे. If you will solve in this pattern, will your answer is wrong? Just tell me, will your answer is wrong? Considering the 49 capital and 49 capital B. मैं आपसे पूछ रहा हूं कि अगर मैंने ऐसे सॉल्व कर दिया एग्जाम में, देन will the answer be wrong? Will the answer be wrong considering the 49A, 49B, Rule 88A and Circular 98? It is wrong. Sanjay Singh, it is wrong. No. Sanjay, that point which you are saying, the IGST has to be utilized first. That is for IGST ITC, not for CGST ITC. That is for IGST ITC. And here we have intentionally written the balance of IGST 0. Absolutely correct word. This has the option, CGST has the option, they can give to the C, or if want, they can give to the I, their choice. Their choice. The restriction, what I like to highlight, the restriction given in the 49 subsection 5, clause C, is, which is restriction that you cannot give to the I, that is being relaxed by the 49 capital A. But अगर मैं still पुराना वाला concept follow करता हूं, if I will follow the older concept, will my answer be wrong? Answer is no, it is not wrong. You should follow that order only. See, आपको एग्जाम में क्या करना है, you follow that order, whatever you have the practice now, follow that order, which is somehow being supported by the circular, but I'm saying that the order which is given in the circular is now overridden, or now it is not only option for offsetting the liability. संजय क्लियर हुआ ना? या कोई डाउट है तो पूछ लीजिए, आप अनम्यूट करके पूछ लीजिए. मैं कंफ्यूजन क्रिएट नहीं कर रहा हूं, मैं आपको बता रहा हूं. सी, इन द एग्जाम व्हाट यू विल डू, you follow that order, no problem. In exam you follow that order, no problem. ठीक है. In the footnote, in the assumption, if you like to write in the assumption that there could be the another possibility also, you write that also, there is no issue. But in the main solution you will follow that order. I am only saying that there could be the one more option after 49A and 49B, that I like to highlight to all, because we don't know, exam ka question might be asked in some other manner or whatever.
Sir?
Yes, sir.
I have query, sir. So in portal, I think so still they are being following the old order, right, sir?
Which one?
Portal, GST portal, sir.
Correct. Agreed. Following that order, I do agree. Might be that will be changed shortly.
Okay, sir.
Okay. But I like to only highlight one point, that GST portal is not the law, right? That we all know.
Yes, sir.
Correct. Now, see, circular cannot override the law. Whatever written in the section and the rules, we have to abide by that.
Yes, sir.
Correct. So, considering that portal, we don't know when the functionality is being changed or will change or will not change. We don't know anything. But again, I'm interpreting the law only.
Okay, sir. So as per the law, we can utilize it because of 49A and 49B.
Correct.
Since it is notwithstanding, it is overriding those clauses, we can utilize CGST, SGST liability first for the IGST, and then we can pay for the CGST liability. But as per the circular, we cannot.
As per the
circular, we cannot do it.
So what is the final conclusion? I have told you two things. One for your understanding, one for the examination point of view. What is your understanding? Understanding says that C can give to the I. Second, S can give to the I. Third, S can give to the I even without C. The 3 point which I have told you for your understanding, which is as per the law, which is as per the interpretation. But considering this circular, what you will do in the exam, you will follow the order that C is giving first to C, then to I. S is giving first to S, then I. S is giving to I only after offsetting, only after exhausting the C का balance. मैंने आपको दो बात बताई है. एक, बिकॉज यू ऑल आर सीए फाइनल स्टूडेंट, यू शुड इंटरप्रेट द लॉ. तो मैंने आपको वो बात बता दी, लॉ क्या बोलता है, और वो अगर चाहो तो आप अजम्पशन में लिख सकते हो. और दूसरा मैंने बता दिया कि आपको एग्जाम कैसे हैंडल करना है. ठीक है. द बैलेंस इन द इलेक्ट्रॉनिक कैश लेजर और इलेक्ट्रॉनिक क्रेडिट लेजर आफ्टर पेमेंट ऑफ टैक्स, इंटरेस्ट, पेनल्टी, fee, or any other amount under this act or the rules made thereunder may be refunded in accordance with the section 54. Now, if you like to take the refund of the cash ledger, if you like to take the refund of the credit ledger, no problem. You can take. No problem, you can take. But in accordance with the section 54. So 54 is imposing certain condition and restriction that we will discuss, or some other faculty will discuss the provision. All the liability under this act shall be recorded and maintained in the electronic liability register in such manner as may be prescribed. Now the point is, if you go to the electronic liability register format, it is divided in two parts. One is returns related liability, one is other than returns. So returns related liability means whatever you are filing the GSTR 3B, the liability, if you see the liability registered even on the GSTN, even on your portal, GST portal, you will find that whatever the liability you have reported in the 3B, it will get created in the liability register. And once you make the payment, it will get, it will clear, it will, closing balance will be zero. So means whatever the liability is there, it is being recorded in the liability register also. Okay. Now this point, every taxable person shall discharge the tax and other dues in the following order. Self-assessed tax of the previous tax period, self-assessed tax of the current tax period, self-assessed tax and other dues related to the returns of the previous tax period, self-assessed tax and other dues related to the current tax period, any other amount payable under this act or the rules made thereunder, including the demand in section 73 or 74. So the order has been given, might be this order can be checked in somewhere in any question. Suppose they might be given some small case study and it is being shown that yes, this is the liability. How you will discharge the liability? Remember, 49 capital 8 is not being override by any other provision, right? So this order remains same. If you have the returns liability, if you have the demand, then which will be the first? Returns of the previous tax period, returns of the current tax period, and then demand 73, 74. Every person who has paid the tax on the goods or service or both under this act shall, unless the contrary is proved by him, be deemed to have passed on the full incidence of the tax to the recipient. मैं repeat करता हूं, every person who has paid the tax on goods or service or both under this act, unless the contrary is proved by him, deemed to have passed the full incidence of the tax to the recipient. Very important point. And this point will help you in the refund chapter. See, there is a concept of unjust enrichment. You will discuss in the refund chapter. What is that? Unjust enrichment means, suppose I'm a supplier. I have collected the tax from my customer and I have also take the refund of the taxes from the government. I become rich because of unjustifiable reason. Section 54 says that there cannot be the unjust enrichment. Means incidence of the tax should be borne by me only. Then only I can take the refund. Correct, na? See, I cannot take the double advantage. I have collected from customer and I also collected from government as a refund. It's not possible. So the point is, every person who has paid the tax shall, unless the contrary is proved, be deemed to have passed the full incidence. Correct? Let's move further. A registered person on the common portal transfer the amount of the tax, interest, penalty fee, or any other amount in the cash ledger to the cash ledger. Can you transfer the amount of the cash from one GST number to the another GST number of the same PAN? Can you please tell me? Can you transfer the amount lying in the cash ledger to the another GST number that is distinct person? क्या मैं ट्रांसफर कर सकता हूं? 49 subsection 10 says, yes, you can. You can, provided no such transfer shall be allowed if the said registered person has any unpaid liability in the liability register. So now try to understand one important point. Try to understand one important point. Again, I can say to a larger extent, it is practical. You have received one order for your client, a demand order. You have received one demand order for your client, correct? For filing the appeal, you have deposited 10%. Then you have filed the appeal. Will the 90% be recovered from you if you have filed the appeal? क्या वो जो बैलेंस 90% है, will it be recovered? संजय, मैं समझा नहीं, वापस बताएं. Which point you like to tell कि मैंने आपको बताया? सॉरी, मैं समझा नहीं एक बार, या मैंने मैसेज बाद में देखा है, नहीं टाइमली देखा है. Which point you like to tell? मतलब that offsetting वाला. ठीक है. See, I am saying you the interpretation of the law. एंड मैंने आपको दोनों पैटर्न बता दी कि एग्जाम में कैसे हैंडल करना है और आपको लॉ कैसे समझना है. ठीक है, दोनों पैटर्न आपको बता दी. आप क्या आंसर दे रहे हो? ओनली इफ द एक्सेस कैश पेमेंट इज अवेलेबल. ओके. सी, when you read the appeal provisions, you will come to know that your demand will be stay if you have the amount in the liability register and you have furnished the appeal, then balance demand would be deemed to be stay. मतलब लाइबिलिटी तो है पर डिमांड रिकवर नहीं होगी क्योंकि स्टे लग गया उस पर. यू गॉट माई पॉइंट? वेदर देयर इज अ लाइबिलिटी, आंसर इज यस. वेदर इट विल बी रिकवर्ड, आंसर इज नो. वेदर इट विल बी रिकवर्ड, आंसर इज नो. ये पॉइंट क्लियर हुआ ना? In that case, can you transfer the amount lying in the cash ledger to the another GST number, or answer is no, you can't do, because you have the liability. It is not being recovered. That is the different part. It will not be recovered. That is different part. But liability तो है ना आपके liability register में. Liability तो है ना आपके liability register में. हाँ, it means you are not allowed to do the transfer. Is that clear? एक बार कंफर्म करो, is that clear? Let's read further. The registered person on the common portal transfer the amount of tax, interest, penalty fee, or any other amount available in the cash ledger to the electronic cash ledger for IGST, CGST, SGST, or UTGST, or integrated tax or central. Wait. वापस पढ़ता हूं मैं. A registered person transfer the amount of the tax, etc., lying in the available in the cash ledger under this act, means CGST Act, to the electronic credit ledger for cash ledger for IGST, CGST, SGST, UTGST. मतलब जो क्लॉज ए में वो किसकी बात कर रहे हैं? क्लॉज ए में वो बात कर रहे हैं विद इन द जीएसटी नंबर. आपके पास अमाउंट कैश लेजर में अंडर आईजीएसटी है, यू कैन ट्रांसफर टू द CGST, you can transfer to the IGST, you can transfer to the interest from penalty to the other fees. Whatever you like to do the transfer, you can do the transfer. And the clause B is talking about transferring the amount of your cash ledger under this act, means under CGST. So if you have the amount under CGST, that you can transfer to the IGST or CGST. See, here they have written the state tax, but here they have not written the state tax. What does it mean? It means you can transfer within the GSTIN from C to SGST, IGST, whatever you want. But if you like to do the transfer from one GST number to the another GST number under the same PAN, which is called as distinct person, in that case, you can do this transfer. You can do this transfer only to the CGS, from the CGST to the CGST or IGST. You can't do C and S. ठीक है?
Sir,
And such transfer shall be deemed to be the refund from the electronic cash ledger under this act. What does it mean? So it means if you have transferred from CGST to IGST, it means you have taken the refund from CGST and you have deposited the amount under IGST. Clear? Provided that no such transfer under clause B shall be allowed. It means clause A will be allowed even if you have the liability. ठीक है? Shall be allowed if the said registered person has any unpaid liability in the liability register, where any amount has been transferred from electronic cash ledger under this act, the same shall be deemed to be deposited. ठीक है? Can you transfer the ITC from CGST to IGST? Can you transfer the ITC of CGST from one GST number to the another GST number also now? Is my understanding correct? I'm asking the question. गीत, आप कहां से बिलोंग करते हैं? फ्रॉम वेयर यू आर बिलोंग्स टू? Sanjay, Saminathan, I know this point that you cannot understand Hindi. So whenever I'm using the word Hindi na, I'm repeating in English. Same thing I'm repeating in English. I know I can recall easily. You can unmute. Yogesh, you can unmute and ask your query. No problem.
Sir, I have a query related section 10, 10B, sir, subsection 10B, sir. Okay, for a distinct person, if
This
I
one.
want 10B, yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Okay.
Uh, for a distinct person, in my suppose I have a in Andhra Pradesh and in Rajasthan. Suppose from AP SGST cash ledger, I cannot transfer any money to the IGST CGST of the another GST number, right, sir?
You can transfer IGST. Now you can transfer to IGST. S can always be allowed to. C or S are not allowed, right?
हाँ so, हिंदी में पूछ रहा हूँ सर एक भी कि मैं मेरा पूछने का मतलब ये था कि सपोज अभी मेरा एक राजस्थान में और एक आंध्र प्रदेश में रजिस्ट्रेशन है सर मैं 16 पर्सन हूँ तो अभी आंध्र प्रदेश के कैश लेजर में मेरे पास पैसा सपोज आईजीएसटी सीजीएसटी का पैसा है वो तो मैं राजस्थान में ट्रांसफर कर सकता हूँ लिखा हुआ है कि आईजीएसटी या सीजीएसटी ऑफ द 16 पर्सन कैन बी ट्रांसफर्ड अगर आंध्र प्रदेश का मेरा एसजीएसटी का कैश लेजर है तो वो उसमें ट्रांसफर नहीं कर सकते वहाँ पे लेकिन आई कैन यूज 10A यूज करके मैं सपोज मेरा एसजीएसटी का सीजीएसटी
ये
आईजीएसटी में
जुगाड़ है.
ट्रांसफर करके
ये
मैं
जुगाड़ है.
बाद में मैं ट्रांसफर कर लूंगा ना सर
करेक्ट करेक्ट. ये जुगाड़ है.
तो
एब्सोल्युटली
उसका
यू कैन डू.
तो उसका मतलब ही नहीं रहा ना मैं वही
मतलब
क्वेरी था
करेक्ट करेक्ट करेक्ट. आई डू अग्री. आई डू अग्री. ठीक है. आंसर.
वो
वेरी आंसर ना.
है यस सर ठीक है
So, Saminathan, just for you, I am just giving the short, repeating once again in the English, okay, so that you can also understand. The query asked by Yogesh says that if I have the SGST and I like to transfer to the another state, can I do? Answer is no. CGST, can I do? Answer is no. What is the other mechanism available, Saminathan? Clause A is saying that you can transfer the SGST, CGST, IGST within the state. Is there any problem? Within the GST number, is there any problem? Samyanathan, answer is no. There is no problem. Correct. So Yogesh is saying that I will transfer first SGST to the same GST number under SGST. Once the amount is came into the CGST or IGST, in the same GST number, I can do transfer whatever I want. So I have the Andhra Pradesh SGST, which I will transfer to the Andhra Pradesh CGST, and then Andhra Pradesh CGST will transfer to the another CGST of other state. Is that possible? Answer is yes, it is possible. It is way of matlab tax. So way of adjustment I can say. ठीक. Right, Saminatha. Clear one. Is it clear to you? Because whatever the question is being asked is being in Hindi language. So I, for the benefit of the all the students from southern part or any person who does not understand the Hindi, I have repeated the question so that you and we should be all at par. That is the point. ठीक. Subsection 11 says where any amount has been transferred that we have read, notwithstanding anything contained. The government, on the recommendation of the council, subject to such condition and restriction, specify the maximum portion of output tax liability which may be discharged through the electronic credit ledger by a registered person as may be prescribed. You got the point? Why they are saying so? Why it is being saying so? For which provision they are saying they are inserted a 49 subsection 12? It was inserted later on. It was inserted later on. It was not there since beginning. They like to give the support to the 1% provision. 1% provision, correct? I can say this clause was supporting a lot. This clause was supporting a lot to making the amendment in the section 50 subsection 1, or I can say the rule 88B. What I'm saying, so you tell me one thing. You tell me one thing. If I deposited the amount in the cash ledger on the due date, but I'm filing the return after the due date, will the interest be levied? I've deposited the amount in the cash ledger within due date. I have deposited the amount in the cash ledger within the due date. Say my due date is 20th. The demand is 10 crore. I have deposited 10 crore on 20th in my cash ledger, but my GSTR 3B is furnished on, let's say, 25th. Will the interest be levied for 5 days? The answer is no. Interest will not be levied because of the amendment. We will discuss whether it is applicable for your exam or not applicable. That we will discuss. But for the time being, just try to understand the provision has been inserted retrospectively. Provision has been inserted retrospectively, and why it is being inserted? Because of mainly, I can say, backend support was the clause A. What was the clause A? The date of the credit to the government will be deemed to be the date of deposit in the cash ledger. So it means if I have deposited the amount on the 28th, if I have deposited the amount on 20th, it means I have paid to the government. And once I paid to the government, even if I file the return late, you can't levy the interest. Late fees, though, section 47 ka late fees will always be applicable. Late fees is on the delayed filing of the return. Interest is on the delayed deposition of tax. हाँ, right, Saminathan, you are right. But you, if you recall the amount, what amount I have reported, what amount of the tax I have reported, kitna, what was the example? Liability was kitna crore? How much crore? 10 crore. Therefore, it cannot be under QRMP. So I have taken the example other than QRMP. I have taken the example of monthly, but you are absolutely right. If the taxpayer is QRMP, then due date is 22 or 24. ठीक है. The expression tax due means the tax payable under this act but does not include the interest, fees and penalty, and other dues means interest, fees or penalty or any other amount payable under this act. Now let's take a break of 10 minutes. We will resume and read the section 49A, 49B again. ठीक है. Let's take a break. about section 49 capital A, and again tell me whether 49A will override the 49B or 49B will override the 49A. Tell me who is superior, 49A is superior or 49B is superior? Because the 49A override the only 49, but 49B override the entire chapter. So whether 49A override the 49, whether 49A override the section 49, array, why except 49? Saminathan, notwithstanding anything contained in 49, what does it mean? It means 49A override the section 49. Oh, oh, sorry, you have given the answer for the previous question, is it? I don't know. Okay. ठीक है, sorry. Correct. So what is the 49A? Notwithstanding anything contained in 49, the ITC on account of the CGST, ITC on account of the SGST, or UTGST shall be utilized toward the payment of IGST, CGST, SGST, or UTGST as the case may be. Only after the ITC available on account of the integrated tax has been utilized fully toward the such payment. Notwithstanding anything contained in section 49, the ITC on account of the CGST, SGST, UTGST shall be utilized for the payment of IGST, CGST, SGST as the case may be, only after the ITC available on I has been utilized fully. मतलब जिस तरीके से भी whatever you want you can use the ITC, whatever you want. There is no order at all. Only condition that IGST has been utilized fully. ITC on account of IGST has been fully utilized. Then what happened? By this, two problem has arose. Problem number one, C can give to S also, and vice versa. Problem number one, C can give to S or S can give to C. To resolve that problem, they have made 49B and which override the entire chapter including 49A. They have override the entire provision including 49A, which says that subject to the clause E and the clause F. Now it says that 49.5 clause E and clause F will remain. Means C and S can never give to each other. Same on account of the recommendation of the GST Council prescribed the order and the manner of ITC on account of IGST, CGST, SGST as the case may be toward the payment of any such tax. So they can prescribe the order. यहां पर इन्होंने 49A में क्या कहा था? 49A is only talking about that can use any order except ITC of I should be fully utilized. So first priority to make the I 0. Now 49A, it means the 49A can be used I का ITC toward the C का liability, CGST का liability without being used toward the I. Trying to understand, is it correct interpretation? From the section 49A, they are saying that ITC on account of IGST has been utilized towards such payment. Such payment means payment of IGST, payment of CGST, payment of SGST. It means again this problem arises that 49A does not prescribe any order. Does not prescribe any order. Now the power of the order has been taken from the 49B. Is it clear? यहां तक क्लियर है सभी को? आगे बढ़ते हैं. Rule 88A. Let me go to the rule 88A first. Input tax credit on account of the integrated tax shall be first utilized toward the payment of such tax. Now, why? By insertion of the 88A, first order has came across that IGST ka ITC shall be utilized first toward the payment of IGST, and remaining, if any, may be utilized toward the payment of C and S as the case may be in any order. And the word proportion has been given by the circular 98. Provided ITC on account of the CS will be utilized for the payment of ICS after the ITC on IGST has been utilized. Again, same point. You can use the ITC of C or S for the payment of I. Only point that ITC on account of IGST has been fully utilized. That's it. Let me move further. एक सेकंड दीजिएगा. Analysis is okay. Let me go to the circular first and then we'll complete this part at least. Circular 98. Manner of utilizing the ITC, that IGST has to be used toward the payment of I first. CGST and SGST, it can be any order, any proportion. Then ITC on account of the CGST. ITC on account of the CGST has to be given toward the I, toward the C, or toward the S. S is not applicable. First, why they have written first? Because of the 49.5, because of the circular. So it is written in the circular, and again, so I have told you everything of the circular as well. I hope there is no ambiguity. Okay. Now let's move further. Transfer of ITC. On utilization of the ITC available under this act for the payment of the tax due under I, as reflected in the valid return, the amount collected as central tax shall stand reduced by an equal to such credit so utilized, and central government shall transfer on account of equal amount so reduced from the central tax account to the integrated tax in such manner within such time as may be prescribed. So this they are talking about IGST settlement. What is the IGST settlement? What is the IGST settlement? So I know that if, let's say, Rajasthan is making the sale to Delhi, which tax they will charge? Which tax they will charge? It will be IGST. And the place of the supply, assuming it is Delhi. Then this IGST will be a portion between the center and state. IGST will also be a portion between the center and state, right? Now, how it will be a portion? In case of B2B transaction, very important point I'm telling to you. the IGST settlement based on B2B transaction, it will not happen on each transaction separately. No, ऐसा नहीं होगा कि इस ट्रांजेक्शन का IGST will be allocated to Delhi. No, no. Then when this IGST be utilized toward the payment of C, S or I, possible na? When this IGST being used toward the payment of I, no settlement required. No settlement required. When this IGST being used toward the liability of the CGST or toward the liability of SGST, then the IGST settlement will trigger. The on utilization of ITC under CGST for liability of IGST in the valid return, amount collected as central tax shall stand reduced by an amount equal to the credit so utilized, and the government shall transfer an amount equal to the amount so reduced from the central tax. जितना भी I have used the central tax toward the IGST cross utilization, the government will transfer the amount to me for the settlement of for the ITC of the C used to the I. In such manner, in such manner, such time as may be prescribed. Where any amount has been transferred from cash ledger to the cash ledger of state or UTGST shall transfer to the state account or an amount equal to the amount transferred from the cash ledger in such manner. See again, if you transfer the cash, see when you deposited the amount in the CGST and now cash has been transferred to the IGST or cash has been transferred to the SGST, then equal amount. See, when I am transferring the amount in the portal, will this amount be transferred by the Reserve Bank of India also to the respective state account? Answer is no. On every entry which is being done in the portal, how it is linked to the RBI? Therefore, they are saying at the end of every such time, such manner as may be prescribed, they will use the amount transferred from C to S or C to I cross utilization. Whether you have transferred the amount also, then the amount which you transferred will be given to the state. The electronic liability registered specified in section 49 subsection 7 shall be maintained in the PMT01 for each person liable to pay the tax, interest, penalty, late fee or any other amount on the common portal. And all amount payable by him shall be debited to the said register. The electronic liability register shall be debited by the amount payable toward the tax, interest, penalty, fee, late fee or whatever as per the return. So first I'm saying that it will be divided as per the return, and second, the amount of the tax, interest, penalty or any other amount payable as determined by the proper officer in persons of any proceeding or as ascertained by the said person. Amount of the interest that may accrue from time to time. Subject to the provision of section 49, section 49 capital A, 49 capital B. Payment of every liability by a registered person as per his return shall be made by debiting the electronic credit ledger maintained as per the rule 86. मैं repeat करता हूं, subject to the section 49, 49A, 49B. Payment of every liability by a registered person as per his return shall be made by debiting the credit or cash, or the liability shall be credited accordingly whenever I am filing the GSTR 3B. Let's say I'm taking one example. So my electronic liability registered will get debited first based on my liability and will get credited second when I am offsetting the liability. Amount deducted under section 51 or amount collected under section 52. What is the section 51 and what is the section 52? Section 52 we will discuss in the next class. TDS will be taken by today only. Or the amount payable on the RCM or the amount payable under section 10. An amount payable toward the interest, penalty fee or any other amount under this act shall be paid by debiting the cash ledger, which we have discussed already. Amount of the demand debited in the liability register shall reduced to the extent of the relief given by the appellate authority, appellate tribunal or the court. Amount of the penalty imposed or liable to be imposed shall stand reduced partly or fully as the case may be if the taxable person make the payment of tax, interest, penalty. Amount of the penalty imposed or liable to be imposed shall stand reduced if the taxable person make the payment specified in the so-called notice or the demand order. A registered person shall, upon noticing any discrepancy in the liability register, a registered person, upon noticing any discrepancy in his electronic liability register, communicate the same to the proper officer through the common portal in PMT04. Now we are talking about credit ledger. The credit ledger shall be maintained in PMT02 for each registered person for ITC under this act on the common portal, and every claim shall be credited to the said ledger. The electronic credit ledger shall be debited to the extent of discharge of any liability. So that order we have already discussed. Where the registered person has claimed the refund of unutilized amount from the credit ledger in accordance with the section 54. Anybody can tell me one situation when I am allowed to take the refund of ITC? Anybody can tell me one situation wherein I can take the refund of electronic credit ledger? Correct. So all are saying export, yes. Export sedge, yes, yes, yes. Amount to the extent of the claim shall be debited to the electronic credit ledger. Now, if the refund is rejected, either fully or partly, amount debited to the extent of rejection shall be recredited in the credit ledger by the proper officer by an order made in the PMT03. So PMT03 is basically an order made by the officer for recrediting the amount in case refund is rejected. Where a registered person has claimed the refund of any amount paid as tax, wrongly paid or paid in excess, for which debit has been made in from the credit ledger, the said amount, if found admissible, shall be recredited to the credit ledger by the proper officer again in the PMT03. What is this? A person has claimed the refund of any amount tax wrongly paid or paid in excess for which the debit has been made in the electronic credit ledger. The said amount, if found admissible, shall be recredited to the credit ledger. Correct. Excess payment of tax made through debiting the credit ledger. When I will file the refund application, then they will recredit the ITC amount. They will not give the amount in cash. where a registered person deposit the amount of the erroneous refund sanctioned to him, either under 54 subsection 3 or the rule 96 sub rule 3, where a registered person deposit the amount of erroneous refund. So he has claimed excess refund, then he has to deposit back along with interest and penalty through DRC 03 by sorry by debiting the cash ledger on his own, or is being pointed out an amount equivalent to the amount erroneously refund deposited by the registered person shall be recredited to the credit ledger. So once, see, try to understand very, very important chronology. I have applied the refund. Then on refund, amount will be debited to my credit ledger. Amount will be debited to my credit ledger. Balance कम हो जाएगा, right? And amount is being received in cash. So my bank account has been credited. If I find that this amount is excess, I will deposit along with interest, etc. But if I deposit the amount, then government should give me back the ITC, right? Government should give me back the ITC amount. Yes, this is the order they have inserted PMT 03 capital A. PMT 03 capital A for recrediting the amount in the electronic credit ledger. Let me repeat once again. If refund is rejected, point number one, I have applied the refund, it is being rejected, it will again given back me in the credit ledger through PMT 03. Next, I have claimed the refund of any tax wrongly paid or excess paid for which debit was made from the credit ledger. And if it is found admissible, then I will my credit electronic credit ledger should be credited back. Third, if there is an excess refund received in bank account, then I will pay back to the government through cash. Okay. But when I am debiting, when I'm filing the refund, the amount is being debited. Then the amount once deposited, the amount will be get credited in my credit ledger through PMT 03A. Complete one ये discussion या कुछ payment of the any doubt if mistaken done by the refund is interest penalty applicable? Yeah. Saminathan, if I go by the law, answer is yes. If I go by the law, answer is yes. But if you say that it is not correct, it is not the mistake of the taxpayer, again then need to litigate the matter. ठीक है. Save as provided in this chapter, no entry shall be made directly in the credit under any circumstances. No entry shall be made directly. See, either it can come through GSTR 3B or it can come through the forms which we have discussed. Direct entry cannot be made in the credit ledger, save as provided otherwise. Upar, whatever we have discussed. A registered person, upon noticing any discrepancy in the credit ledger, communicate the same to the officer and through the common portal in the PMT 04. If it is clarified that a refund shall be deemed to be rejected if the appeal is finally rejected, or if the claimant given an undertaking to the proper officer that he shall not file an appeal. Rule 86A. What is the Rule 86A? Condition of use of the amount available in the credit ledger. They have the right to block the credit ledger? No. Please never use the word blocking the credit ledger. Please never use the word they will take the amount from the credit ledger. No. They will only the blocking of debit entry in the credit ledger. Who? Proper officer. not below the rank of the assistant commissioner. If they find the reason to believe, see in the exam, these words should come. Wherever it is written in the law, reason to believe, it has to come in your answer. Because in all circumstances, it cannot be possible. There has to be the reason to believe that credit in electronic credit ledger in is no reason, either fraudulently availed or ineligible. Two reasons, either fraudulently availed or ineligible. The credit of input tax has been availed on the strength of the tax invoice or the debit note or any other document. Now, quickly, we can link with the 16th subsection 2. There are certain conditions, total 6 conditions were there for taking the ITC. Correct? There were 6 conditions for taking the ITC. What was the first condition? Invoice should be there. So, what is the Rule 86A? Rule 86A giving the power to the commissioner to not allow me use the credit ledger. I will not be allowed to use I will not allow to pass the debit entry in the electronic credit ledger if they found me I have availed the credit which is fraudulently or it is not eligible. Okay. Such as in as much as first, it is issued by the registered person. So I have taken the ITC from a registered person who does not exist without receipt of the goods or services. This is the 16(2) condition. Credit has been availed on the strength of the tax invoice or debit note which has not been paid to the government. Is it condition of 16(2) or not? Simply tell me, is it the condition of 16(2) or not? Answer is yes. Tax not paid to the government. We have discussed 3 points. C, supply does not exist, not the condition. I have not received the goods or services, the condition of 16(2). Tax does not pay to the government, condition of 16(2). Recipient is found non-existence or not conducting the business. Is it the condition of 16(2)? Is it the condition of 16(2)? The answer is no. And registered person availing any credit is not in possession of the tax invoice or debit note or any other document which is being prescribed in Rule 36. Is it the condition of 16(2)? Out of the 5 conditions, I can say that 3 are related to 16(2) and rest 2 new. What is the 2 new condition given in the Rule 86A? What are the 2 new conditions given in the Rule 86A? What is the new condition given in the supplier or recipient not found, not existing, or not found to exist or does not conducting the business from the declared place? These are the 2 new conditions. Correct? बहुत बढ़िया. Very nice. Then again, the officer can reason to be recorded in writing, not allow the debit of an amount in the credit ledger. Debit to the credit ledger for discharging the liability under section 49 or for claim of any refund. So they will not allow me to use the credit ledger for discharging the liability. They will not allow me to use for taking the refund. If I feel that it has been wrongly issued, then I can request the commissioner, upon being satisfied that the condition for disallowing it does not exist, allow the debit. And this condition would be valid for only 1 year. After the expiry of the 1 year, the condition shall cease to have effect. Correct? This is Rule 86 capital A. Now Rule 87. The cash ledger. Electronic cash ledger shall be maintained in the PMT 05 for each person liable to pay the tax, interest, penalty, late fees, or any other amount for crediting the amount deposited and debiting the payment thereof toward the tax, interest, penalty, fee or any other amount. Okay. Any person or a person on his behalf shall generate the challan in the PMT6 on the common portal, enter the details of the amount to be deposited by him, provided that challan shall be valid for 15 days. The deposit under sub-rule 2 shall be made through these mode: internet banking, UPI, IMPS, credit card, debit card, NEFT, RTGS, or OTC, over the counter. And in case of the over the counter, it is allowed up to rupees 10,000. Maximum you can use 10,000 rupees for over the counter. However, the restriction of depositing up to 10,000 in case of an over the counter shall not apply by the government department or any other department. Any other deposit to be made in person as may be notified by the commissioner. Proper officer or any other officer authorized to recover the outstanding dues, or proper officer or any other officer authorized for amount collected by way of cash. So in these cases, the restriction of 10,000 will not be applicable, provided that a person supplying OIDAR services from a place outside India to a non-taxable online recipient referred to in section 14 may also make the deposit through international money transfer through Society for Worldwide Bank, Interbank Financial Telecommunication Payment Network from the date to be notified by the board. Okay. What is the explanation? For the purpose of this sub-rule, it is clarified: for making the payment of any amount indicated in the challan shall be borne by the person making such payment. The commission, if any, मतलब जितना भी खर्चा लगेगा, that I have to bond. Obviously, government will not bond. Any payment required to be made who is not registered under this act shall be made on the basis of the temporary identification number generated through common portal. Where the payment is made by NEFT, RTGS, the mandate form shall be generated along with the challan, and then it will be submitted to the bank from where the payment is to be made. Mandate will be again valid for 15 days. On successful credit of the amount to the concerned government account maintained in authorized bank, a challan identification number CIN shall be generated by the collecting bank and the same shall be indicated in the challan. On receipt of the CIN from the collecting bank, the said amount shall be credited to the cash ledger on whose behalf the deposit has been made. Where the bank account or the person making the deposit is debited but no CIN is generated, amount has been debited but no CIN is generated, or generated but not communicated to the common portal, said person may represent electronically in PMT07 through the common portal to the bank or electronic gateway through which the deposit was initiated. Where the bank failed to communicate the challan of CIN, details of CIN to the common portal, the cash ledger may be updated on the basis of e-scroll of Reserve Bank of India. In case where the details of said e-scroll are in conformity with the details in the challan generated in the PMT6. Amount deducted under section 51 or collected under section 52 and claimed by the registered taxable person from whom the said amount was deducted shall be credited to the cash ledger. But see, any amount deducted or collected and claimed by the registered taxable person from whom the said amount was deducted. You are my supplier, I am government. You have made the supply to me, I will deduct the TDS. Whatever the TDS, I will deduct it. And you will claim, once you will claim, then once you claim that your credit ledger, electronic cash ledger will be credited. So there's a concept of GSTR 2X. So accept, reject. Correct. 2X. Oh, Samanathan. Very nice, you know. If the refund so claimed is rejected either fully or partly, the amount debited under sub-rule 10. Sorry, where a person is claiming the refund of any amount from the cash ledger, the said amount shall be debited. If the refund is rejected, then to the extent of rejection, the amount will be credited back to the cash ledger. In the PMT03, it is same as we have discussed in the refund of credit ledger, right? Again, if there is any discrepancy, then I can communicate through PMT4. Registered person on the common portal transfer any amount of the tax, interest, penalty, fee, or any other amount available in the cash ledger to the cash ledger for IGST, CGST, SGST, UTGST in PMT09. A registered person on the common portal, any amount of the tax, interest, penalty, fee, or any other amount available in the cash ledger under the act, means they are talking about CGST, to the cash ledger for IGST, CGST, SGST, or UTGST. Now they have given the form number, that is PMT09. And this amount can be transferred to distinct person also. Transfer the amount to the distinct person also, that we have discussed already, correct? Again, this transfer will not be allowed if you have the unpaid liability. Explanation 1. The refund shall be deemed to be rejected if the appeal is finally rejected. For the purpose of this rule, it is hereby clarified that a refund shall be deemed to be rejected if the appeal is finally rejected or claimant gives an undertaking that I will not file appeal. Rule 88, talking about the identification number of each client, each transaction. Unique identification number shall be generated at the common portal for each debit or credit to the electronic cash or credit, as the case may be. Unique identification number shall be generated at the common portal for each debit or credit. The unique identification number relating to discharge of any liability shall be indicated in the electronic liability register. And unique identification number shall be generated at the common portal for each credit in the liability for reason other than covered under sub-rule 2. Okay. And this we have discussed. So we have covered the first part, multiple cash, multiple credit ledger. Let me see this CPIN and CIN. What is this? CPIN stands for the Common Portal Identification Number. It is created for every challan successfully generated by the taxpayer. It is 14-digit unique number and will remain valid for 15 days. What is the CIN? CIN is generated by the bank once payment in lieu of generated challan is successful. It is 18-digit number, that is 14-digit CPIN plus 4-digit bank code. CIN is generated by the authorized bank or RBI when the payment is actually received by such authorized bank or RBI and credited in the CIN is generated by the authorized bank or RBI when the payment is actually received by the authorized bank or RBI and credited in the relevant government account held with them. It is an indication that the payment has been realized. BRN, bank reference number, is the transaction number given by the bank. EFPB stand for the electronic focal point branch. These are the branches of the authorized bank which are authorized to collect the payment of GST. ठीक है, ठीक है. That is okay. I am not reading this point. We have discussed in too much length. Major add, minor add we have discussed. So this is the reference number which we talked about. एक मिनट दीजिएगा खाली. Give me 1 minute. So then electronic credit ledger 49. This circular we have discussed in detail. Ah, correct. With this circular, I think 172 we need to read in detail. Circular 172 we need to read in detail. ठीक है. Clarification regarding utilization of the amount available in the credit ledger and the cash ledger for the payment of tax and other liabilities. Question number one, whether the amount available in the credit ledger can be used for making the payment of any tax under the GST law. Clarification. In terms of the section 49 subsection 4, amount available in the credit ledger may be used for making the payment toward the output tax under the CGST Act or the IGST Act, subject to the provision relating to the order of utilization of IDC as laid down in the 49B, read with Rule 88A. Rule 86 of Rule 2 provide for debiting of the electronic credit ledger to the extent of discharge of any liability in accordance with the provision of 49, 49A, 49B. Now, output tax in relation to the taxable person. That is, what is the meaning of taxable person? The person who is registered or liable to be registered. It is being defined in section 2 clause 82 as the tax chargeable on the taxable supplies but exclude the RCM. So what is the meaning of output tax? Output tax means tax on taxable supplies. Now what is being clarified, and this clarification is very, very beneficial to all the taxpayer trade bodies. It is clarified that any payment toward output tax, whether self-assessed or payable as a consequence of any proceeding instituted under the provision of GST law, can be made by utilization of the amount available in the credit ledger of a registered person. Clear? It is further reiterated that output tax does not include tax payable under RCM, implying that the credit ledger cannot be used for making the payment of any tax which is payable under RCM. That is being clarified also. Correct. So if anyone asks the question, can we use the credit ledger for demand liability? Answer is yes, because it is clarified by the circular 172. Issue number 2, whether the amount available in the credit ledger can be used for making the payment of any liability other than the tax under the GST law. What do you think? You tell me. What is your view on this question? क्या मैं क्रेडिट लेजर को यूज कर सकता हूं अदर देन टैक्स के लिए? The answer is no. I cannot use the electronic credit ledger for making the payment other than tax. As per section 49 subsection 4, the credit ledger can be used only of output tax. It cannot be used for making the payment of other like tax के अलावा क्या क्या है? Interest, late fees, penalties, other amount. Similarly, electronic credit ledger cannot be used for payment of erroneous refund sanctioned to the taxpayer where such refund was sanctioned in cash. Whether the amount available in the cash ledger can be used for making the payment of any liability under the GST law? Answer is We can use now. There is no problem in this, right? Yes, we can. Correct. Whether the amount available in the cash ledger can be used for making the payment of any liability as per 49 subsection 3, amount available in the cash ledger may be used for making the payment toward the tax, interest, penalty, or any other amount payable under the provision of the GST law. Is it clear? Let's read what is the common point. Where a person has claimed the refund of any amount from electronic cash or credit, the said amount shall be debited. If the refund so claimed is rejected, either fully or partly, the amount debited earlier shall be credited in the cash or credit in an order in the prescribed form. Can you tell me which form? Can you tell me by an order made in the prescribed form, which form? Only PMT 03. Correct? PMT 03. Yes. PMT 03. Absolutely correct. No problem. ठीक है. Unique identification number shall be generated at the common portal for each debit or credit to the electronic cash or credit ledger. Similarly, unique identification number relating to discharge of any liability shall be indicated in the corresponding entry in the liability register. This is look and feel of electronic liability credit ledger. So whenever you put the means debit or credit, they will give you a block or unblock. We have discussed. Okay. Electronic liability register. Read with rule 85. Just take a break of 10 minutes again, and then we'll move to the this process. ठीक है अशोक जी. liability register, and we have discussed the rule 85. So both the part has been completed, right? Electronic liability register. Now we'll move to the what is this? Okay. What is this? Uh, Interest on the delayed payment of tax under section 50. Every person who is liable to pay the tax in accordance with the provision of this act or the rules made thereunder, but failed to pay the tax or any part thereof to the government within the period prescribed shall, for the period for which the tax or any part thereof remain unpaid, every person who is liable to pay the tax in accordance with the provision of this act or the rules made thereunder, but failed to pay the tax or any part thereof to the government within the prescribed time shall, for the period for which the tax or any other part thereof remain unpaid on his own, interest at such rate not exceeding 18% as may be notified by the government on the recommendation of the council. You tell me one thing. Now, because of the Diwali festival, the due date of the GSTR 3B has been made extended to the 25th October. Earlier due date was 20th October. I'm talking about monthly. If the 3B ka due date has been extended to 25th October, what does it mean? Whether the due date for making the payment of tax is also being extended automatically, or they have to specify. It will be automatically. Correct? Once we read the written GST written chapter section 39 subsection 7 says the due date of the payment of tax will be equal to the due date of filing of the GST return. If the due date of filing of the return has been extended, means automatically the due date for the payment of the tax has been extended. Every person who is liable to pay the tax, okay, but failed to pay the tax, then interest at the rate not exceeding 18%, provided that interest on the tax payable in respect of the supplies made during the tax period and declared in the return for the said period furnished after the due date in section 39, except where return is furnished after commencement of any proceeding in 73 or 74 in respect of said period, shall be payable on that portion of the tax that is paid by debiting the electronic cash ledger. Now tell me one thing. I'm taking the example. Invoice of 1st September 2025. I have the invoice of 1st September 2025. Not missed, I have missed to report in September GSTR 1, which is filed on 11th October. Tell me one thing. Can I add this GST? Can I add this invoice in GSTR 1 for October? Can I add this? Or I'm not allowed to add? I am allowed to add. What is the problem? So I have added this invoice of September 2025 in the GSTR 1 of October 25 filed on 11th November. Tax liability was rupees 1 lakh and made through ITC on 80,000 and cash 20,000. Tell me the 1 second. Give me 1 minute. So, assuming it is a monthly filer and due date of GSTR 3B is 20th of every month. दिवाली वाली एक बार extension को एक बार for the timing kindly ignore that. ठीक है. GSTR 3B for October 25, GSTR 3B for September 25. It has been furnished on 28, that is 8 days after, and this has been furnished on 25th November, that is 5 days after. Tell me in this case, how the interest, on which amount interest would be levied and how many days interest would be levied. Will it be levied on 1 lakh? Will it be levied on 80,000? Will it be levied on 20,000? And it will be for 8 days or 5 days. From which date to which date? Interest from which date to which date? So अभी तक जो जवाब आया, I am not sure. And amount, Geet, on which amount? 20,000 or 1 lakh? Why not 20,000? Absolutely correct. Try to understand the provision. Try to understand the provisions. Okay. Okay. So I am changing the question slightly and just taking your view because you have given that made through ITC, which is added in September month return. Will your answer be changed? Will your answer be changed? Correct. Okay. Now the main question, whether interest would be levied on 1 lakh or 20,000, that we have to understand. क्या आंसर होगा? I am not giving the answer right now. Proviso says that interest on tax payable in respect of the supplies made during a tax period. Can you tell me which supply? The supply is of which month? Can you tell me the point which we are talking about, the supply is pertaining to which month? The supply is pertaining to September 2025, correct? And declared in the return for the said period. Have we added the same in the GST return for September? I'm talking about outward supply. I'm not talking about ITC. And declared in the return for the said period. Have we added? Have we added in the same return period? Have we added in the same return period? Answer is no. We have added in the next GSTR1 and next GSTR3B, we have discharged the liability. Declared in the same tax period? No. in that case, if you have not declared in the same tax period return, the benefit of the proviso would not be applicable to you. The benefit of this proviso would not be applicable to you. In this case, the liability would be, the interest liability would be on entire 1 lakh, not on 20,000. Not on 20,000. Because I have not declared in the return of the said period. Had it be declared in the September, return, and assume that September return is being furnished on 25th October, 25th November, no problem. The interest would be levied for the period. What is the due date? 20. The 21st would, from 21st to 21st October to 25th November. Interest would be levied for this period, but amount would be 20,000. The only condition that the declaration should be in the same tax period. In my example, because the declaration was in the next tax period, therefore the benefit is not available. Is it clear? Fine. Let's move further. The interest shall be calculated in a manner as prescribed. Where it is being prescribed, Rule 88B. Third is where the ITC has been wrongly availed and utilized. Read the proviso and tell me. Read the provision, section 50, subsection 3, and give me the answer that I have claimed the ITC of one line item of one ITC on inward supply, which is ideally blocked. 1 lakh rupees ka ITC I have claimed. I have not used that, but it has been claimed and lying in my credit ledger. This ITC has been reversed or has been paid in the next month. Will the interest be levied? Clear enough question. Let me repeat. I have claimed in the month of September. I have claimed the ITC on the motor vehicle up to 13 seater. Let's take example. I have purchased the motor car. I have claimed the ITC, and then it has been credited to my electronic credit ledger. After 1 month, I have noticed that I wrongly claimed. After 1 month, I have reversed. I have paid back this ITC. Whether interest would be levied for 1 month or not, I have not utilized, obviously. Whether interest would be levied? Again, once again, please confirm yes or no. Once again, please confirm yes or no. एक बार कंफर्म करना सब लोग. संजय, सम्यनाथन, okay. So the answer would be, what would be your answer? Please repeat your answer. See, again the 50 subsection 3 was retrospectively amended, and earlier the word was or, and now they have replaced with the word and. What does it means? If you have wrongly availed and utilized, if you have wrongly availed and utilized, then only the interest would be applicable. If you have only availed but not utilized, then no interest. If you have wrongly availed but not utilized, even after 1 year, I'm paying back. No problem. No problem. You can make the payment of this particular amount. No problem. You can make the payment of this amount without interest. Is it clear? Because of the word and, this interpretation comes. And why they have made, so this was not there since beginning. Earlier it was there or, and therefore they have changed the word and retrospectively, which is in the trade, I can say, favorism. Clear? Next point, rule 88B, मैनर ऑफ कैलकुलेटिंग. और इसमें ये जो प्रोवाइजो ऐड किया ना, दैट वी नीड टू रीड. In case when the supplies made during the tax period are declared by the registered person in the return for the said period. and the return is furnished after the due date in accordance with the provisions of section 39, except 73-74. In respect of the said period, the interest or the tax payable shall be calculated on the portion of the tax which is paid by debiting the cash ledger for the period of the delay. Now, I have asked a question from the proviso. Correct? Provided that where any amount has been credited in the cash ledger on or before the due date of filing of said return, but the amount which is lying in the cash ledger is debited from the said ledger for payment of tax while filing the return after the due date. I am debiting the cash ledger after the due date. The said amount shall not be taken into consideration while calculating the interest if the said amount is lying in the ledger from the due date till the date of the debit at the time of filing of return. In all other cases where interest is payable in accordance with the 50 subsection 1, interest shall be calculated on the amount of the tax which remain unpaid for the period starting from the due date till the due date of the return, as may be noted, that we have discussed. And same thing, section 50, interest shall be calculated on wrongly availed and utilized. Again, important word and. Now, tell me one thing. Interest on reversal of input tax credit will be 18% or will be 24%? The rate of interest, if I have excess claimed and utilized, what is the rate of interest? 18 or 24? See, reversal of input tax credit. I have claimed excess ITC, I have availed and utilized. Now I am paying back to the government. What is the rate of interest that I need to pay? Answer is 18, 1/8. Answer is 1/8, 18. But here it is written 24. No, it is not written 24. It is written upper cap. It is written not exceeding 24. It can be lower than that. So in the Finance Act 2021, they have made, see, earlier since starting it was 24%. Finally, the Finance Act 21 has made the retrospective amendment in the notification by stating 1/8, 18%. अब तो समयनाथन, नहीं, this was after 22nd September. This statement is not correct now. This statement is not correct after 22nd September, correct? Because now there is a rate of 40% also. Now there is a GST rate of 40% as well. But your interpretation, you are linking is absolutely correct. Yes, in item. But your linking is absolutely correct. Okay. Now, for the purpose of this rule, ITC shall be construed to have been utilized when this point is very important. This point is very important. And again, I like to highlight that this is for credit ledger and not for cash ledger. Why I am saying so? Let's read first. The ITC wrongly availed shall be construed to have been utilized when the balance in the ECL fall below the amount of ITC wrongly availed, and the extent of such utilization shall be the amount by which the balance in the credit ledger fall below the amount of the ITC wrongly availed. The date of utilization of such ITC shall be taken to be the date on which the return is due to be furnished or the actual date of filing, whichever is earlier. If the balance in the credit ledger fall below the amount of the ITC wrongly availed on account of the payment of the tax through the said return. We'll read one circular, one important circular also. The date of the debit in the credit ledger when the balance in the credit ledger fall below the amount of ITC wrongly availed in all other cases. ठीक है. Give me 1 minute. Just let me go to the. So this is the notification. And has notified the rate of 18% per annum for both. Just clarification. Clarification on charging the interest under section 50 subsection 3. This circular is 192. Very important circular. In case of wrong availment of IGST credit by the registered person, whether the balance of the ITC available in the credit ledger under the head IGST only need to be considered. What is the problem? Now listen the problem statement. Problem statement was Mr. A has claimed the IGST credit of rupees 1 lakh wrongly availed on that motor car in the month of October 2025. Now he like to reverse in the month of October. What happened in the month of November 2025? The closing balance of credit ledger is as under IGST rupees 1 lakh, CGST rupees 1 lakh, SGST rupees 1 lakh. Okay. Now he has the liability of intrastate as 1 lakh. So the liability will be CGST 50,000 and SGST 50,000. He has the ITC of IGST 1 lakh, CGST 1 lakh, and SGST 1 lakh. Now tell me, can he use the CGST and SGST ITC for the payment of CGST and SGST liability without using the I? Answer is no. Again, you are doing the mistake. Please note, I talked about CGST ka ITC toward the. I talked about this one. I talked about this one. I have talked about this point, CGST ka ITC toward the IGST ka liability. I have talked this point, SGST ka ITC toward the IGST ka liability. But in this question, I'm talking about liability under CGST, ITC under CGST. Can we use first? Even though there is a balance of IGST, answer is no. You have to exhaust this completely. You have to exhaust this, make it nil, and then only you are allowed to use C and S. So in this case, what will happen? I have to forcefully use 50,000 CGST, IGST ka credit towards CGST 50,000, SGST 50,000, by which it becomes 0. So closing balance of ITC after November will be nil under IGST, 1 lakh under CGST, and 1 lakh under SGST. यहाँ तक clear है? Is that clear? Till now, is it clear? Now in the month of December, Mr. A has received the notice for reversal of IGST along with the interest, as there is no balance in IGST. Officer is saying because you do not have any IGST balance, therefore you need to pay the interest. Question is clear? Question is clear? Because there is no IGST balance, you need to pay the interest. The circular has clarified that amount of the ITC available in the credit ledger can be utilized for the payment of the liability of I. It is the total ITC available in the credit ledger under the head ICS taken together that has to be considered for the calculation of interest under Rule 88B. For determining as to whether the balance in the ECL has fallen below the amount of the wrongly availed of ITC and to what extent the balance in the ECL has fallen below the said amount of the wrongly availed. Matlab, I will see whether my wrongly ITC availed is being utilized or not. That will be decided if my balance in the ECL has fallen below of the wrongly availed ITC and to what extent the balance has fallen below. Thus, in the case where the IGST credit has been wrongly availed and subsequently reversed, there will not be any interest liability during the time period starting from the availment up to the reversal. The balance in the ITC under the head ICS taken together has never fallen below the amount of the wrongly availed ITC, even if the balance of I credit individually fall below the amount wrongly availed in the IGST credit. Is it clear? What I like to explain that you will not check the individual ledger ka balance, you will check the consolidated. But this is applicable, only for the credit, not for the cash. Tamanathan, CGS to CGST first. See that you are again talking something different. You watch the video. I was not having that intention of that whenever I has explained that. However, when the balance of the ITC taken together fall below such a wrongly availed amount of the IGST credit, then it will not amount to the utilization of such wrongly availed IGST credit, and the extent of the utilization will be extent to which the total balance. Now you are clear. Whether the credit or the compensation cess available in the ECL shall be taken into account while considering the balance of the ECL for the purpose of calculation of interest. What do you think? You tell me your based on your understanding. कि जो हम इंटरेस्ट का कैलकुलेशन कर रहे हैं, वट एवर वी आर कैलकुलेटिंग द इंटरेस्ट, डू वी नीड टू एड द क्रेडिट ऑफ कंपनसेशन सेस एज वेल? Answer is, can we use the compensation cess CGS compensation cess credit toward the payment of liability of CGST, tax liability of SGST, tax liability of IGST? Ha, right. So answer is no. So ITC of compensation cess can be utilized toward the payment of compensation cess only, right, Saminathan? Therefore, the credit cannot be utilized for the payment of any tax head or reversal of credit under the said debt. Accordingly, credit of compensation cess available cannot be taken into account while considering the balance of ECL for the purpose of calculation of interest. Clear? Now the last part of the chapter is section 51. Last part of the chapter is section 51. Hardly take 10-15 minutes and then we'll come up with a quick round of the revision. We'll wind up the session. Section 51 says, notwithstanding anything contrary contained in the government. And in this act, the government may mandate the department or establishment of the government, local authority or government agencies or such other person. Now, in this particular clause D, they have notified the four categories of the person. Correct. So three they have given in the act itself, and additional four has been given in the clause D. So the total 7% on whom section 51 is applicable. Now, hereby called as deductor, to deduct the tax at the rate of 1% from the payment made or credited to the supplier of the taxable goods or services or both, were the total value of the such supply under a contract exceed 2,50,000. If the, what is the word? Is it a per annum? Is it a per invoice? No. They have only used the word contract. It means it can be more than 1 year, or it can be less than 1 year. It can be one invoice, it can be multiple invoice. What is the criteria fixed in the section 51? That is under a contract. Correct? When TDS is not applicable, when TDS is not applicable, if the LOS and POS is in the same state, if the location of supplier, now tell me, location of supplier is Rajasthan, place of the supply is Rajasthan, which tax will be, and the recipient LOR, recipient is in, let's say, Maharashtra, which tax will be charged? Which tax will be charged by the supplier? Which tax will be charged by the supplier? Correct? Absolutely correct. CGST and SGST. Which state? Which SGST? Will it be Rajasthan or will it be Maharashtra? Which SGST? CGST, and who is the supplier? Who is the supplier? Supplier is located in Rajasthan. So obviously, he will pay the SGST. Which SGST he will pay? He will pay the SGST of Rajasthan only, right? And the recipient is a government, Maharashtra government. The proviso says that in this case, TDS will not be applicable. It is a practical challenge, because if Maharashtra recipient will deduct the TDS, then it will be CGST and which SGST? ये गवर्नमेंट अपने पोर्टल से which state का tax can be paid by this particular recipient, by this taxpayer. If we like to make the payment of SGST, it will be the Maharashtra SGST, but he need the credit of Rajasthan SGST. Credit means it will be added in the cash ledger. So therefore, considering the practical problem, because he cannot deduct the Maharashtra, he cannot deduct the Rajasthan SGST, right? He cannot deduct the Rajasthan SGST. Therefore, the proviso says that no TDS. The proviso says no TDS. Explanation: for the purpose of deduction of tax specified above, the value of the supply shall be taken as amount excluding the taxes part. Can you tell me? Can you tell me the one provision where we are taking the taxes including? We have discussed one provision where taxes are included in determining the value. Where taxes are included in determining the value. जहां पर हम टैक्सेस को ऐड करते हैं टू डिटरमाइन द वैल्यू. नो आइडिया. I'm talking about the GST only. Nine. I'm talking about the CGST, SGST, IGST, UTGST that will be added in the value. If you are talking about like import, etc., if you are talking about import, etc., please exclude that. Okay. Any other chapter where the total value will be considered including of all taxes, and if it is beyond such limit, then the provision would be mandatory. We are adding the CGST, SGST, IGST, and then total value. The total invoice value, if exceed the prescribed limit, then that provision will be applicable. E-way bill. E-way bill. E-invoicing, we are not including the value. Correct. E-way bill. If it is exceed 50,000, right? No problem. No problem. But you are very good. You all are supporting. A lot of provision is being remembered by you. Very nice, sir. I'm really happy to see the answer of all the participants. Amount deducted as tax under this section shall be paid to the government within 10 days after the end of the month in which the deduction was made. Certificate of the deduction at source shall be issued in such form and such manner as may be prescribed. The deductee shall claim the credit in the cash ledger of the tax deducted and reflected in the return furnished in 39th in such manner as may be prescribed. Okay. So that is the provision. That is okay. If deductor failed to pay to the government the amount of the tax deducted as subsection 1, he shall pay the interest in accordance with the 50 subsection 1 in addition to the amount of the tax deducted. So the determination of the amount in the default under this section shall be made in the manner 7374 default. Okay. Refund to the deductor or the deductee arising on account of the excess deduction shall be dealt in accordance with the section 54, that is refund, provided that no refund to the deductor shall be granted if the amount deducted has been credited to the cash ledger of the deductee. Correct? Now, categories of the person not liable to deduct TDS. If the goods or services are being supplied from PSU to another PSU, no problem, no TDS. Same, they are saying when the supply of the goods or service between A, B, C, D, then the provision would not be, TDS provision would not be applicable except clause D. Now in the clause D, they have made this. Let's read this. Try to understand. This is very interesting. Okay. Now I told you that they have issued the notification, this one, and so that is the Ministry of Defense. They've issued the notification to give more category. Total 4 category has been given. One is any authority or board or any other body set up by the act of the parliament or state legislature or established by the government with 51% or more participation of equity. Okay. Then they've issued the circular 76 to clarify that 51% is only for the clause 2 or the clause 1 and clause 2 both. The 51% is applicable to both the item. This part has been clarified by circular 76. Thus, the provisions of the section 51 are applicable only to such authority or the board or any other body or set up by the act of the parliament or the state legislature in which 51% or more participation by way of the equity is with the government. Then second is society. First is authority or the board or any other body with 51% participation of equity. Second is society, central government, state government. Third is PSU, no problem. Till here, there is no problem. Now the problem started because of this. First time they have added other than government. They are saying any registered person receiving the metal scrap from other registered person. See, let's say if Ispat, let's say there is a one company that is Ispat Metal Limited is purchasing the metal from a registered person XYZ Limited and from unregistered person. Tell me, if they are purchasing from unregistered person less than 2,50,000, will the TDS be applicable? More than 2,50,000, will the TDS be applicable? It says that any registered person purchasing from other registered person, then no TDS. And if they are purchasing from XYZ Limited registered person, then yes, TDS would be applicable. Can you tell me on this transaction, is any other provision is applicable? On this particular transaction, whether any other provision be applicable? On this transaction, whether any other provision applicable? Very nice. Very nice. Really appreciating Geet and Samyanathan. In this case, RCM would be applicable. Okay. Now try to understand. The TDS will not be applicable. Next point. The TDS will not be applicable if Section 51, subsection 1, clause A, clause B, clause C. In the clause D, again clause A, clause B, clause C, not the clause D. 51A, 51 subsection 1, clause A, government, central government. Clause B, local authority. एक सेकेंड. Clause A, central government or state government. Clause B, local authority. Clause C, that is government agency. What is the clause D? Notification. In the first, they have given the authority, 51% wala. Clause B, government society. Clause C, PSU. Clause C, PSU. And clause D is metal scrap. They are saying if they are making the supply 3 plus 3 are making the supply to each other, they are making the supply to each other, no problem. We will not apply the TDS provision, no TDS. But if the government and metal scrap company are dealing with each other, then TDS provision would be applicable. ये बात clear हुई? Is this clear? Is this clear? Very important to understand. In which case the TDS will not be applicable. हाँ. PSU to PSU, no TDS. Initially, they have given the small relaxation. Then they have given the wider relaxation, clause A, clause B, clause C of the section 51, subsection 1, and the notification. All are exempted. Therefore, PSU was itself covered in that. And the next is metal scrap. After adding the metal scrap, they have made the amendment. What is the rate of the TDS? 1-1. 1 CGST, 1 SGST. TDS will be deducted on the net value of the taxable supplies. TDS will be deducted on the net value of taxable supplies. So no TDS if the supplier and place of the supply are in one state and the recipient are in the different state. ठीक है. Supplier as well as the place of supply are in the different state. Supplier as well as the place of supply in the state A, that we have discussed, correct? That we have understood. Value of the supply exceeding 2,50,000. Deposit of the TDS by 10th. TDS certificate that will contain that TDS certificate. It will automatically nowadays. Transfer of ITC. Transfer of ITC in section 53 and section 18 of IGST. Now read this particular last part. Section 53 we have already read, correct? If the amount of the CGST is utilized toward the dues of IGST, then in terms of section 53, there shall be reduction in the amount of the CGST and the central government shall transfer the amount to the such reduction. Similarly, if the amount of the IGST is utilized toward the payment of C and S, then in terms of section 18, there shall be reduction in the amount of the IGST equal to the credit so utilized, and central government shall transfer such amount equal to the amount so reduced in IGST to the CGST. However, if the amount of the IGST is utilized toward the dues of SGST, then in terms of the section 18 of IGST Act, there shall be reduction in the IGST and will be apportioned to the respective state government, and central government will transfer the amount so apportioned to the account of the respective state government. Here, appropriate state means in relation to the taxable person means the state or UT where the taxable person is registered. This is all about the tax today chapter. Any question you may ask? Otherwise, last 5 or 6 minutes, 9 minutes we have. Let me start the quick round of question answer. If you have any question, you ask in between. Very nice. Very nice. Very nice, Geet. So the unlimited RCM supply ka relaxation from registration given in the 23 subsection 2, why the notification 5 by 2017 is not applicable in this case. Metal scrap. Absolutely correct. ठीक है, start करते हैं question answer. Can the IGST credit be given to C and S without the IGST liability? Can the IGST credit be given to CGST and SGST ka liability first toward the IGST ka instead of making the payment toward the IGST ka liability? Answer is no. It is not possible. It cannot. Tell me C and S. So when the concept of in any order, in any manner, in any proportion will be applicable. From which ITC to which liability? The word any proportion, any order, any manner is applicable when I am making the payment from which head to the which head. Correct. So IGST ka credit after utilizing the IGST ka liability can be given to CGST liability or SGST liability in any order, in any manner, or in any proportion. Correct. When the interest would not be applicable if the cash is when the interest would not be applicable if the cash is deposited and return is filed, both are after the due date. Will the interest be applicable? कैश के केस में applicable कब नहीं होगा? We have talked about two relaxation for the cash component. In first component, we have talked about कि जितना net liability, the net liability you are making the payment, interest would be applicable on the net liability discharged through cash ledger. When interest would be applicable, interest would be okay, great. Interest would be applicable if to the extent of the amount deposited through cash ledger, provided the provided the liability has been declared in the same tax period, return for the same tax period, and that return is filed after the due date. Correct. Will this relaxation be applicable if the demand is by virtue of the 73-74? Will the relaxation be applicable if the deposition is on account of the 73 and 74? The answer is no. The proviso exclude that. So we talked about one order. So I have the liability of the return, I have the demand liability, I have the self-assessment tax liability of the previous period. Then there's an order for utilizing the payment. What was that order? Self-tax liability of current period, tax period, and demand. Correct. Tax and dues of the self-assessment tax as per the return for the previous tax period, then current tax period, then demand 73-74. Then demand 73-74. Absolutely correct. Which ledger is being divided into part? Liability and other than liability. Which ledger is being divided into part? That particular returns and other than returns. I have used 2-3 times. The answer is electronic credit ledger. If I have wrongly availed the ITC but not utilized, will the interest be applicable? The answer is no. Can I transfer the ITC from one GST number to the another GST number? Of the same PAN? Answer is directly no. Huh. There is one provision which talks about ITC 02 capital A. ITC 02 capital A, which talks about Rule 41 capital A, which talks about that you can transfer on the new registration. Very right, indeed. But otherwise, I cannot do the transfer. Otherwise, you cannot do the transfer. TDS would be applicable if the amount exceed how much? If the total value exceed, if the total value exceed 2,50,000, is it including taxes or excluding taxes? Is it including taxes or excluding taxes? 2.5 lakh ka limit. Excluding. Excluding taxes, right? Is it per annum or per invoice? Or per month? Per quarter? Is it per annum? Per month, per quarter or per year? Per invoice? क्या है इसका frequency? The answer is per contract. Per contract. The total 7 category has been given in the section 51. If they are making the supply to each other, no TDS, but they have excluded the one category. What was that? They've excluded the one category. What was that? They have excluded one category कि इस कैटेगरी को छोड़ के अगर आप किसी और कैटेगरी को एक दूसरे को सप्लाई करते हैं, if they are making the supply to each other, no TDS, but yes, in this case TDS would not be, मतलब TDS would be applicable, it would not be exempted. If scrap dealer, a registered person, purchasing the metal scrap from registered person or from unregistered person? A registered person purchasing the metal scrap from registered person or from unregistered person? When the TDS would be applicable? From registered person. Okay. Tell me one more thing. We have talked about some location of supplier, place of supply, location of recipient, and in one situation, TDS will not be applicable. What was that? TDS will not be applicable. What was that? अच्छा, Saminathan, you have already given the answer. Very nice, very nice. हाँ, so you need to give the answer supplier and place of the supply in one state and recipient in other state. Suppose if the recipient is also in the same state, the TDS would become applicable, right? So the recipient should be in other state and LOS and POS would be in the one state. Okay, that part will be. Last question for the day. Can you give me any one name of the minor head? Any one or two name of the minor head? Any one or two name of the minor head? Any one or two name of the minor head? Interest, penalty, late fees, etc. Thank you so much. From my side, the class is over. Any other question, if you like to have, please ask. Otherwise, we can conclude our today class. Thank you. नेक्स्ट क्लास संडे ये सेक्शन 52 ई कॉमर्स ऑपरेटर एंड उसके रिलेटेड रजिस्ट्रेशन प्रोविजन, उसके रिलेटेड टीसीएस एवरीथिंग, मतलब वी आर गोइंग बाय सीक्वेंस ओनली ना. ठीक है. सो थैंक यू वेरी मच संजय, गीत, समीनाथन एंड एवरीवन. गुड बाय टू ऑल. अशोक जी कंप्लीट है मेरी तरफ से क्लास. थैंक यू, हैव अ नाइस डे.